You know your arteries could be dangerously blocked without you ever feeling chest pain? It's one of the most unsettling truths about heart disease. The signs are so subtle, you don't realize anything's wrong until it's too late. But your body often whispers before it screams. And if you know what to look for, you might just catch a problem early enough to save your life. In this video, we're going to cover 5 red flags that could mean your arteries are quietly narrowing. Even if you feel fine most days, these signs show up in the way you move, how you feel, and how your body performs during everyday tasks. They're often brushed off as aging, but they could actually be warning signs that your heart isn't getting the blood flow it needs. Stay with me through the end, because I'm not just going to tell you what these red flags are. I'm going to help you understand what's happening inside your body and what steps you can take right now to protect your heart. If you've ever felt more winded than usual, more tired for no reason, or just have a nagging feeling that something's off, even if your doctor hasn't said anything, this video is for you. Let's begin. Red flag 1. Shortness of breath during light activity. One of the earliest and most commonly overlooked signs of blocked arteries is shortness of breath during everyday activity. And we're not talking about running marathons. This kind of breathlessness shows up in quiet, ordinary moments, like walking across a parking lot, climbing a few steps, or bending over to tie your shoes. Things you once did without a second thought now leave you catching your breath, maybe even putting your hand on your chest for a second or two. It's easy to blame that on aging. But the truth is, shortness of breath like that, especially if it's new or getting worse, is your heart telling you that something is off. When arteries start to narrow, blood can't move as efficiently. That means less oxygen getting to your heart muscle and less oxygen getting to the rest of your body, especially during activity. What's happening inside your body is this. Your heart tries to keep up, but when the vessels are tight or partially blocked, it can't get enough blood to meet your muscles' demands. So your breathing gets faster, your pulse speeds up, and even mild exertion starts to feel like too much. You may find yourself pausing halfway up the stairs or needing a moment to recover after walking uphill. At first, you dismiss it, but gradually your body starts rearranging your life around this new limit. Take Melvin, age 76. He told me he used to walk to the corner store every morning, but recently he found himself needing to stop halfway. He thought it was just age catching up, but after a quick checkup, his doctor discovered significant narrowing in 2 coronary arteries. A procedure and lifestyle shift later, Melvin was back to walking and breathing like himself again. The danger with shortness of breath is that it sneaks in quietly. You don't feel pain, there's no dramatic event. Just a slow change in how much you can do and how it feels when you try. But your body knows. And if you listen closely, it's often the first whisper that your arteries might not be as open as they used to be. So if you've noticed yourself getting winded, doing things that once felt easy, don't brush it off, especially if it's paired with lightheadedness, fatigue, or pressure in the chest or neck. Those are not just signs of aging. They might be signs of something much more important and much more treatable if caught early. Red flag 2. Persistent fatigue without a clear cause. Feeling tired once in a while is normal. But when that tiredness lingers day after day without a clear explanation, it could be more than just a poor night's sleep or getting older. It could be a signal that your heart isn't getting the oxygen it needs and that your arteries are narrowing in ways you can't yet feel. Fatigue caused by poor circulation doesn't always hit like a wall. Sometimes it creeps in slowly. You wake up groggy even after a full night's rest. You feel drained halfway through the day. Tasks that once felt effortless, like making breakfast, doing laundry, or having a long conversation, start to feel like chores. Not because you're lazy and not because you're getting forgetful, but because your heart is working harder than it should to do less than it used to. Here's what's really happening. When arteries are clogged or narrowed, the heart has to pump harder to get enough blood through them. That constant extra effort takes a toll. You may not feel a pounding in your chest, but your body starts conserving energy in subtle ways. It lowers your drive, it slows your movements, and over time you begin to feel like your get up and go has quietly gotten up and gone. I knew a woman named Janet, 74, who told me she used to garden for hours without thinking twice. But recently she started taking breaks just 15 minutes in, not because she was out of shape, but because she felt off. A blood test and follow-up. Scans showed reduced blood flow to her heart due to partial blockages. After adjusting her medication and diet, she said the difference in her energy was like night and day. That's the thing, fatigue isn't always about being tired. It's often your body's way of saying, I'm struggling, And when that struggle is linked to blood flow, it doesn't matter how much coffee you drink or how many naps you take. It won't go away until the root cause is addressed. What makes this red flag so easy to miss is how normal it can seem. Especially as we get older, people around us may say, well, you're just not as young as you used to be. But aging doesn't mean you should feel drained every day. There's a difference between natural slowing down and a loss of vitality that your heart is trying to explain in the only way it can, by making you stop. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Red flag 3, leg pain or cramping when walking, claudication. One of the lesser known signs of blocked arteries. Doesn't show up in your chest at all, it shows up in your legs. If you've ever noticed aching, tightness, or cramping in your calves, thighs, or hips while walking, that improves when you stop to rest. You could be experiencing a condition called claudication. And it's often a warning that your arteries are narrowing, not just in your legs, but potentially near your heart too. Here's what happens. As you walk, your muscles demand more oxygen-rich blood. But if your arteries are partially blocked, especially in your legs, that supply can't keep up. Your muscles start running on low fuel and they protest. You feel it as a burning or squeezing pain, or even as a heaviness that makes you stop. And the moment you rest, blood flow catches up and the pain eases. That pattern, pain with movement, relief with rest, is a key signal. What makes this sign so dangerous is that many people write it off as arthritis, aging, or just having bad legs. But true claudication is a red flag for something deeper. Peripheral artery disease, or PAD. And PAD isn't just about your legs. It's a systemic condition, meaning if it's happening in one part of your body, there's a good chance it's happening elsewhere too, including the arteries around your heart and brain. I met a man named Gerald, 79, who told me he used to walk to the park every day. But lately, halfway there, his right calf would start to ache. He thought it was just a pulled muscle, until one day, he couldn't make it past his driveway. Tests revealed he had significant blockage in both leg arteries. But more importantly, his cardiologist discovered similar narrowing in his coronary arteries. That leg pain turned out to be the very thing that saved him, because it forced him to take action before something more serious happened. Claudication can show up in both legs or just one. It might feel like pressure, fatigue, or a tightening that comes on predictably with activity. The key is that it goes away with rest. If that sounds familiar, don't ignore it. Your body is signaling that it's not getting enough oxygen where it needs it because something in the pipes is clogging up. And the earlier it's caught, the more you can do. Medication, movement, diet, and in some cases, a simple procedure can dramatically improve blood flow, not just in your legs, but throughout your whole body. Because leg pain isn't always about muscles or joints. Sometimes it's about your heart asking you to listen, even when the pain is far from your chest. Red flag 4, erectile dysfunction in men over 50. For many men, changes in sexual function are chalked up to aging, stress, or hormone shifts. But there's another often ignored cause of erectile dysfunction: poor circulation. In fact, difficulty achieving or maintaining an erection can be one of the earliest red flags that your arteries are beginning to narrow, long before you ever feel chest pain or shortness of breath. Here's why erections require strong, consistent blood flow. And the blood vessels in that area are small and highly sensitive to changes in circulation. When plaque begins to build up in the arteries, these smaller vessels are often the first to be affected. That means a drop in sexual performance can actually be one of the first whispers that your cardiovascular system isn't functioning as it should. This doesn't mean every instance of erectile dysfunction points to heart disease, but when it becomes frequent, especially in men over 50, doctors often consider it a vascular warning. In many cases, it appears years before other symptoms of heart disease show up. And it's not just about intimacy, it's about survival. Because the same type of plaque that affects one area is often affecting others as well, including the arteries leading to the heart and brain. I knew a man named Ray, 68, who started experiencing erectile issues but kept it to himself for nearly a year. When he finally mentioned it during a routine visit, his doctor ran a few tests just in case. What they found was early-stage coronary artery disease. Ray hadn't had any chest pain, no trouble walking, no dramatic symptoms. But that one quiet red flag gave him a head start. With lifestyle changes and treatment, he avoided the heart attack that could have been waiting around the corner. What makes this warning so easy to overlook is discomfort. Many men don't talk about it. They feel embarrassed, or they assume it's just part of getting older. But in reality, it's a critical signal from the body that blood isn't moving the way it used to. And it's not just about sex, it's about circulation. Blood flow tells us everything. If something's interrupting it in one area, chances are it's happening elsewhere too. Paying attention to changes in sexual function isn't about shame, it's about early detection. It's about knowing that your body never stops sending signals. You just have to be willing to listen. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Red flag 5, cool or pale extremities with weak pulses. Your body has a simple way of telling you that blood isn't flowing like it should, and it often starts at the edges. If your hands or feet feel colder than the rest of your body, even in a warm room, or if your skin looks unusually pale or bluish, your circulation may be compromised. And when that change is paired with weak or hard-to-find pulses in your wrists or ankles, it may be a sign that your arteries are narrowing silently and steadily. What's happening inside is this. When arteries are blocked or stiffened, your heart can't deliver enough blood to the furthest points, your fingers, toes, hands, and feet. Those areas become like the outermost rooms in a house with failing plumbing, still connected, but barely getting what they need. And that slow trickle of blood shows up in very physical ways. You might notice that your socks and shoes feel colder than they used to. Your fingertips may seem slow to warm up. You might even feel a numbness or tingling that comes and goes. These are not just annoyances, they're clues. They signal that your vascular system may be struggling to do its job. And the problem may not be in your hands or feet, it may be in the arteries that lead there. I remember Martha, 72, who noticed her right foot was always cold to the touch, even when the rest of her body felt fine. She thought it was a circulation issue related to sitting too long, or maybe the weather. But after a nurse couldn't find a clear pulse in that foot during a routine visit, she was referred for testing. They discovered significant arterial narrowing in her leg, so much so that without treatment, she risked losing circulation altogether. The real danger with reduced blood flow isn't just discomfort, it's what comes next. Cold, pale extremities often precede more serious complications like tissue damage, ulcers, or in extreme cases, the risk of amputation. But it rarely starts dramatically. It starts quietly with cold fingers, pale toes, or a pulse that's hard to feel. If you want to check for this at home, compare both sides. Do your feet feel evenly warm? Can you feel a pulse on the inside of your ankle or the top of your foot? Is the skin color consistent? These small checks can tell you a lot, especially if you notice a change from how things used to be. Because when circulation fades, it doesn't always scream. It withdraws. It slows. And if your body feels colder at the edges, your heart might be struggling more than you know at the center. Listening to these subtle signs might not just improve comfort, it might give you a chance to act before a minor symptom becomes a major event. And the earlier you catch poor circulation, the more options you have to protect the life and vitality you've worked so hard to build. Final thoughts. So now that you've heard these 5 red flags, how many of them feel familiar? Maybe you've noticed yourself getting more winded lately. Maybe your legs have started to ache halfway through your walk. Maybe there's been a quiet, nagging fatigue you just can't explain. These might seem small on their own, but together they form a picture. A picture your body has been painting to warn you that something deeper may be happening with your circulation. And that's the key, listening early. Because when arteries become blocked, they don't always cause dramatic pain right away. They whisper. They slow you down. They change your routines. And if you don't pay attention, those whispers can grow into something much louder. Something that arrives in the form of a heart attack, stroke, or sudden emergency that might have been prevented. But here's the good news, your body always gives you a chance to act. Every symptom we talked about today is an invitation to ask questions, to get checked, to speak up even if you think it's nothing, even if your last visit looked normal. Because many lives are saved not by heroic efforts, but by noticing the small things early enough to do something about them. If even one of these signs rang true for you today, take it seriously. You don't have to panic, but you do have to pay attention. Get a blood pressure check. Talk to your doctor. Ask for a simple vascular screening. And remember, these conversations are not just about avoiding disease. They're about protecting the energy, freedom, and independence you've worked your whole life to enjoy. You deserve to move freely, to breathe easily, to wake up with energy, and to live knowing that your heart and body are getting the support they need, not just when something goes wrong, but every day along the way. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.